What is that? Hey there, welcome to Emily Busy at Home. We're going to be talking about hospitality in this COVID season. What to do, what not to do, who to host, who not to host, what the Bible says about it, and we're also going to be making some mandazis and tea for our guests. So to make our mandazis, I've already laid out all our ingredients and I'm going to show them to you. Whether you're making mandazis or you're making some other food, use food as a means of grace to reach out to people who are suffering, who may not be able to go out of their homes because they are at risk of contracting COVID-19, and reach out to people who don't have jobs. Food can be a wonderful way for you to be the hands and feet of Jesus Christ right now in this season. God has given us all these different kinds of means to reach out to the lost with his gospel. And food is one of those things that just touches people's hearts. It can be a simple meal, it can be an elaborate meal, but the fact that you can be able to sit down with people and share a meal together opens up people's hearts to be able to listen to the gospel in ways that they possibly would not have done. Think about it. It can be as simple as ugali na mala, but the fact that you've opened up your home to somebody else can go a very, very long way to them opening up their hearts to the gospel of Jesus Christ. So maybe if you're struggling with preaching the gospel to someone who you just met at work or on the street or your neighbor, think of food as a way that you can reach out to them. It can be the first step of many others of preaching the gospel. One of the people who have actually written a great deal about hospitality and the role it plays in preaching the gospel of Jesus Christ is a lady by the name Rosaria Butterfield, and you can check out her book, The Gospel Comes with a House Key. It's, I think, available on Amazon. I think there are bookshops here in Nairobi that actually stock it, like Axe Bookshop. Reach out to them and see how you can be able to get that book. It's a great book to help you to think about how to open up your heart and your home to people who are ailing, suffering, and sinners or sinners. Tuende kwa mandazi sasa. So to make our mandazis, we're going to need the following ingredients. First, you're going to need 3 cups of flour. This is all-purpose flour, yani unga ya ngano ile ya kawaida. This is half a cup of sugar, a quarter teaspoon of salt, 1 teaspoon of baking powder. You're going to need margarine that is melted, or butter. I mean, if you're using butter in this COVID season, the Lord bless your soul. Just go on your knees and tell the Lord thank you. But you can use margarine or butter. You're going to need 1 egg. My 1 egg from our chickens. You're going to need half a cup of milk. This is half a cup of milk, and extra flour for dusting and for kneading. So I'm going to do a whole cup, and I don't think I'm going to use all of it. So let us begin. So first of all, I'm going to mix all my dry ingredients, yani my sugar, my salt, baking powder, all of it together. You know, you can actually do this in a bowl if that's what you have. It's okay, but for some reason I actually thought this would be better. Then you're going to take your melted butter. This one I just put in the microwave for like a few seconds just to melt it. And you're going to use your melted butter, melted margarine, because we're in hard times. But if you're using butter, that's all good as well. Gonna mix that with your hands. So, you know, I've just been thinking about how to do hospitality in this time. You know, do you invite just random strangers into your home? Because that's actually what hospitality in the Bible means. It's actually inviting strangers into your home and into your space, so that it can be a way through which you preach the gospel of Jesus Christ. So in a time of COVID, how practical is that? You actually need to rub the butter into the flour to make sure yani imemix yote ndani vizuri. Just mix it properly. You can use both hands just to break up these big chunks of butter. But yeah, like, how do we practice hospitality as believers in a time when we cannot be able to host people into our homes? This morning I actually read an article on Crossway by Rosaria Butterfield, and she talks about practical ways that we can be hospitable to people. So in as much as you may not be able to host people in your home, there are ways in which you can be inviting to people. You can be helpful to people who are not in a place to help themselves. They're not doing very well. I need a fork to mix this. You can use other forks as well. Just mix that through. Something else I didn't mention is that you also need oil for frying. And I'm going to use this furia to fry my mandazis. Yeah, so there are practical ways that we can be helping those in our communities right now that may be going through a hard time. I think that's a way that we can do hospitality during the COVID times. Are there people in your community who have lost their jobs and are not able to fend for themselves? One way is that you can make a meal and bring that meal to them. Take that meal to them. They don't have to come to your own home. Another way is that you can be of service to people who may not be able to leave their homes right now. For example, the elderly, people who are at a higher risk of contracting COVID-19, and go shopping for them. Even though you want to go to their homes and tell them, what do you need? Give me the money and tender shopping on your behalf, so that they don't have to leave their homes and put themselves at risk. So I've mixed all the dry ingredients in here, and I'm just going to knead it through, so that we can have, you want a smooth dough, right? Yeah. Another practical way that you can be of service to people around you. Kids have closed right now, and there are parents who may not be able to hire help. You can be of service to them in that way, like have their kids over or go to their place and babysit for them, so that the kids can actually be occupied during this time, because now they can't go to parks or go visiting other people or go on play dates. So you can be of service to people with children in that way. But you can also host people in your home if you're comfortable with that, as long as you're able to keep within the guidelines of the COVID-19. Yeah, so we're just kneading this. You don't want to knead it too much, because you don't them. We're talking about mandazi ngumu. You want some soft mandazis. You can actually make these mandazis. You can triple them, quadruple them, and then send them to family and friends, or people in your neighborhood, people in church. So I think our mandazi dough is doing okay. So I'm going to let this rest. I'm going to cover it with cling film. So we are ready to fry our mandazis. Our dough has rested and we're ready to roll it. You're going to need a rolling pin, the extra flour that we had kept aside, and a knife to cut. And then you're also going to need a sorry, you're also going to need a spider to fetch your mandazis from the oil. So shall we begin? Shall we begin? Take a bit of flour and put it on your counter like so. Then you're going to need some more for the top, like so, like so. Then you roll it, roll it, flip it, and roll it. So do not get carried away while you're rolling your mandazis. You do not need too much flour. You need your mandazis to be a certain thickness. Let me show you. You need your mandazis to be, say, a 1/4 inch thick, right? It's like a 1/4 inch thick. It looks like a 1/4 inch thick. Don't use too much flour because that's going to go into our oil. And then also just make sure you run your hand through your dough just to make sure it's all level. Don't some fat mandazis, some thin mandazis, etc. So speaking of hospitality, when I lived another place that I do not live now, I used to make these mandazis and bring them to Bible study, and everyone just loved them. Watu wa Kikuyu, eyo! Watu wa Kikuyu, eyo! So cut your mandazis the size that you'd like to serve them at. So if you want your mandazis to be round or bigger or smaller, that's the size that I like my mandazis to be. Not too big, not too small. So cut your mandazis. So yeah, so these mandazis are famous. So if you make them, please let me know how they turn out and what people think. I'm going to write the ingredients in the description and the method in the description box below so that you can follow along. Yeah, make this for your guests, make them for yourself. Because the kids are home right now, to be great for the kids to snack on this during the day. Yes, so you chop your mandazis. We've cut our mandazis. It is time to fry. So sometimes I like to use chopsticks to move my mandazis around. You can use just your spider to do that. Moto kidogo. They have come in handy a lot of the times when I've wanted to reach out to people. Say someone is grieving or they've lost someone, and you can just make some mandazis because they're so yummy, to console their hearts. But mandazis have become such a way of reaching out to people in an unprecedented way, wacha tu tuseme, at least to myself. Like I didn't foresee how much mandazis would play such an important role in reaching out to people. Yeah. Plus my husband likes mandazis, so I've made them I've done this quite a bit in my time. So then now you can use your spider and fetch those mandazis from the oil. For everyone who watched my very first video on YouTube, asante ni sana sana sana. Thank you for all your support. For everyone who liked, commented and shared, thank you. And for everyone who subscribed, thank you so much. For more content like this, be sure to subscribe to this channel, Emily Busy at Home. There's a red button written subscribe right at the bottom. Be sure to click that, and then there's a bell icon right on the side. Just click it, goes like, and the next time I post a new video, you'll be the first to know. Adios. Your neighbor.